Okay, let's check our work from on this activity where we're trying to distinguish between three kinds of sentences. Look at your hints here. These are the steps you need to take first. Every time you're looking at a sentence to decide what kind it is, first thing we need to do is look for the signal words for dependent clauses. Because if those are not there, it's not complex. Then you need to look for semicolon or a comma fanboy, because if those are present, it's probably compound. Let's write our sentence formulas in first. A simple sentence is made up of one independent clause. A compound sentence is made up of an independent clause plus another independent clause. And a complex sentence is an independent clause plus a dependent clause. Let's look at number 1 first. A Peruvian legend says that the ancient Incas were helped by angel architects. Here I have my signal word for a dependent clause, that. The dependent clause in this sentence is that the ancient Incas were helped by angel architects. That's dependent. And then a Peruvian legend says is an independent clause. So I have an independent and a dependent, so this is a complex sentence. Number 2. Some modern engineers believe this explanation as much as any other. Should have an E on that, believe, shouldn't we? So here I have my subject is engineers, my verb is believe. I don't have any signal words, I don't have a semicolon and or a comma fanboy, so this is just one independent clause, so it's simple. Number 3, Incas lived in Machu Picchu until the population outgrew the food supply. Here, as I look at it, I see my signal word for a dependent clause. My dependent clause is until the population outgrew the food supply. My independent clause is Incas lived in Machu Picchu. So this is a complex sentence. Number 4. Then they moved to the capital of Cusco, which is on the western slope of the Andes. Here I have my signal word for a dependent clause. My dependent clause is which is on the western slope of the Andes. My independent clause is the first half of that sentence. They moved to the capital of Cusco. So this is a complex sentence because it has an independent and a dependent. Number 5. Machu Picchu was no longer inhabited, but perhaps it was not entirely forgotten. When I'm looking at this sentence, I see my comma and my fanboy. So I should have an independent clause on this side, and I have a subject and a verb, so I do. Perhaps it was not entirely forgotten. I have a subject and a verb. So I have an independent clause on this side too. So 2 independent clauses make up a compound sentence. Number 6. The Spaniards came to Peru hundreds of years after Machu Picchu was abandoned. I have a signal word for a dependent clause after. My dependent clause is after Machu Picchu was abandoned. This is dependent. This clause, the Spaniards came to Peru hundreds of years, is independent. So I have a complex sentence. Number 7. The Spaniards, who were searching for gold, attempted to seize a convent where Incan women devoted their lives to the service of the sun god. This sentence has 2 dependent clauses. The first dependent clause is embedded inside an independent clause, set off in commas. Here's my signal word. The second dependent clause starts with where Inca women devoted their lives to the service of the sun god. And then my independent clause is the Spaniards attempted to seize a convent. My subject and my verb for that independent clause. So I have 1 independent clause and I have 2 dependent clauses. That's still going to be a complex sentence because you can have multiple dependent clauses in a complex sentence, but you have to have at least 1. Number 8. They found a convent empty. The women had vanished. Here I have my semicolon. That's a clue that it's probably compound. So let's look on either side. They found the convent empty is independent. The women had vanished is independent. So this is a compound sentence. Number 9. Many Incas believe that the sun god lifted the women into the sky. This sentence, I see my signal word for a dependent clause. That the sun god lifted the women into the sky is dependent. Many Incas believed is independent. So an independent plus a dependent is a complex sentence. And then number 10. The women might have hidden at Machu Picchu instead. I have a subject, I have a verb, I have no signal words, I have no semicolon or comma fanboys. This is 1 clause, so it's a simple sentence.